All right, this is team member Brandon Landry. Brandon started flying with me. How old were you, Brandon?
I guess I was 12-ish.
12 years
Eighth
old.
grade, so
yeah.
yeah, it's about 12.
Called me up on the phone and come picked up an old beat up Storm and started flying the daylights out of that thing. Learned how to fly on the simulator, right?
Yep, real flight.
Real
Flew
flight.
the dog out of that thing.
Yeah. Had a I think a trainer set up for a couple of years, and
Yeah, had a trainer together, and I might have flown it maybe 5 times within a year-and-a-half span. Like I said, I flew the simulator for probably 2 years, and that's really where I learned all my skills.
tell us about your grandpa.
My grandfather, Don Habits, he flew out the Crowley Field and the Rams Club. That's their field. He flew out in the 70s and 80s a lot, flying. I guess it was turn and burn back then, but he was more interested in building, I'd say, and judging. He wasn't so much as a competitive flyer.
But he did fly pattern.
He did fly pattern. He did a lot of sports stuff too, but he had his own designs, kind of tiger tail looking designs. Looked a lot like a tiger tail, and that's what I started flying when I met Bryan. Was like a tiger tail. Wouldn't you say, Bryan?
Yeah, it was like a little 40-sized airplane or something.
And I was doing 4-point rolls, and of course at that time I thought every pattern pilot knew how to do 4-point rolls and 8-point rolls.
Yeah, you're doing better than I could when I met you.
And I guess I was wrong, but like I said, it just the skills that I learned from flying simulators just every night. So
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about this airplane we have here. I guess you were about 13 years old, maybe 14, when I designed this airplane, and
no, I thought it was just revolutionary. I thought it was the coolest thing. The forward swept gear, just the way the wings are staggered and the distance between the wings, just the overall look. I still think it's one of the most aggressive looking airplanes.
yeah.
I was just so envious. I remember, I was probably 15, so probably only a couple years after I started flying pattern, you told me if I won the Nats, you remember this?
Yeah, I do.
At Masters, if I won the Nats, you would give me the Shark, which I guess it was the Valiant at that time, because you hadn't released the Valiant. And unfortunately, I didn't win, but I still placed pretty well, and that was definitely motivation. I wanted the airplane so bad.
Tell us about where did you finish in your Nats experiences? I mean, I know you started in intermediate, right?
Yeah, I did. I flew. I only flew one or two contests in intermediate, flying a Storm EX, Marc Boulanger's Storm EX. I went to the Nats with maybe 20 flights on the plane and placed 4th. Actually, I didn't fly. I flew the Storm Limited.
Yeah,
very similar plane, and that was my backup.
Rickles' old airplane.
Right. Placed 4th. Following year, like once again, had very minimal time. Crashed my airplane a week before the Nats. It was a Shinden.
Yeah.
And ended up borrowing an airplane and actually won the Nats in advance. I think that was in 2009 or 2008.
Yeah, but we were scrambling on that thing.
Yeah,
oh,
last
my
day
goodness.
we had some.
Yeah.
Broke the wing on the last day and had to pretty much tape it back together to fly the last round. And
Yeah.
that was a unforgettable moment there for sure. And then the following year, I flew Masters and placed 5th, flying a Shinden. That was probably my favorite flying plane. I had the most time on it, which still was only maybe 100 flights.
Yeah.
I've always been sidelined with school and work and just time and money. I couldn't always drive to the field because I wasn't old enough to drive.
Yeah, I drove you back and forth many times.
Many times. So
Had some good times.
we did. I learned a lot from those drives back and forth. In the car.
You made the semis one year at the Nationals in
that was really
FAI.
the only year that I flew competitively in FAI. We went up. I was flying Randy Hicks's design, the Talon. I had never even flown a whole P flight until I was in Muncie because he was rebuilding building the airplane, hadn't finished it.
Yeah.
And my first, it was crazy. I'm tired. I'm not doing that this year.
Yeah.
I'm prepared this year, but I made the semis with the airplane. I honestly, I think I didn't even fly the F pattern until the day before. after I knew I made the semis. So that's pretty much been it this year. I hope to.
So what are you doing right now? You're a student in LSU for.
I'm a junior. I have 3 more semesters left. I'm a biological engineering student. On path to graduate next May, and from there I may or may not choose to go to graduate school. But
Yeah.
this is my number 2, right below school is pattern flying. It's always tough, especially now with projects I have going on in my shop, and just trying to balance time between school and flying model airplanes and pattern. I don't have enough time to fly anything else, so I just fly pattern.
Well, let's talk about the Shark a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is my Oxy Shark that Oxy built for me, and was the first prototype from their factory. And I flew it some, and got really busy with another design with. I don't even remember. I think I was doing the Valiant design at the time, at the same time, and had kind of sidelined the airplane and decided that I wasn't going to produce the airplane because it had a lot of odd characteristics that I couldn't figure out what was going on with it for a while. But once I figured it out, I told you to come pick it up and gave you a wing kit. And
you had a lot of faith in me just to give me an Oxy airplane and tell me to go build a set of wings.
I knew you were building, take after your grandpa, and you watched me do a lot of it. And
yeah.
I think in the long run, I think you want to basically be a designer and builder for yourself.
Absolutely. Once I graduate college, I can explore that side of the pattern more so than now. But I absolutely plan on designing my own, whether or not it's for other people to fly or just for my own use.
Yeah.
That's
doesn't
matter right now. I'm equally interested in building as I am flying and designing.
Okay. Well, what did you do to this airplane after we got it to you? What did you have to do to it to
when
make
I got the plane, you gave me one wing to look off as a guide. I scratch built the wings. They're all built up. Balsa, there's no foam in the wings. This is the first set of wings I ever built. So pretty much just built up the wings, sheeted them. They're monocoated. The airplane right now, I believe, weighs finished minus fuel is 4,825 grams, and it could easily be lighter. Yeah,
very good weight.
Very good weight, which definitely helps with the smaller wing on the Shark. I modified the rudder. I think the rudder that comes with the Shark originally was maybe 15 inches tall, something like that. So I modified it here, cut it, added a counterbalance, obviously, to give it the height, otherwise it wouldn't be possible. So now the rudder, I think, is 18.5 inches tall. Scratch built this rudder in a day, and that was fun. Monocoated it. It weighs 50 grams complete, and that's a pretty big rudder.
Yeah. What motor are you running?
Right now I have the 175, non-CDI. I think originally this airplane had a CDI in it.
Yeah, it has CDI from the fact when I got it from the factory.
Right.
I put a CDI in it.
It's got a YS mount on it, and it's very smooth, very, very smooth running. I think all bipes tend to have a smoother run just because of there's no canopy.
Rigidity
integrated.
infused, right? And prop is 2010.5.
Yeah, 2010.5 APC. Hoping to get a 3-blade. Experiment with some 3-blade props soon.
What projects you have going on in the shop? I know you have a.
Well, after I finished this project, I was very motivated to do something else. Didn't really know what that would be until I started flying this airplane and fell in love. So I guess it was about the same time that I got a Shinden composite version, like ones you're selling. It was one of the newer batches, and I was on the fence of selling it, and I decided, well, why not just make it a biplane?
There you go.
So it was difficult to start hacking away on that. It was ready to go. So removed all the fillets, moved the canopy back, so I'm no longer using the stock canopy. So essentially where the canopy line is, the back former, it's the center of the canopy is maybe a couple inches forward of that. So it gives the airplane a very long nose look. So hopefully the wings will be much closer together, won't be on top of the canopy. The top wing will be in front of the canopy. It's going to have a full 2-meter wing. which that's already built now. Right now, I'm probably 80% done with the wings. Still have to monocoat or finish them. But it's a full 2-meter wing biplane, which I don't think has ever been done. And a very, not very thick, but a thicker airfoil. I believe it's 1 3/4 at the root and down to 1 1/4 at the tip. So much thicker airfoil, hopefully better lift. I think lift is better. The more lift you can get, the better.
That's right.
So hopefully that'll be done. Hopefully it will be done. Hope maybe in a month or two, but for the Nats I'll be flying that. And it's going to have retracts. So I know a lot of guys are questioning retracts, but I really think they're worth it. You get a lot cleaner air under the airplane, and just improves performance all around.
What? Tell me some of the strengths of the Shark while you're flying, and why do you love it so much?
Well, I guess the greatest strength of the Shark is maneuverability. It's not for everybody to fly, definitely not a plane that everybody should fly, but I guess with the skills I've learned from you and everything, the plane is always in my command. If I want it to do a knife edge loop with a 20-foot radius, I can do it. So I'm always able to command the airplane, place it where I want to place it. It tracks nicely, actually, for the different moments that you see on this airplane. Knife edge performance, I think, is the greatest asset, and also the speed control. It's almost like pushing a car uphill, flying this airplane. You're always just adding power where you need it. You're never feeling like the airplane is going downhill. You know, the momentum is controlled by you, by how much throttle you give. So you can control in that area.
Yeah, the prop has something to do with that too. And
absolutely. YS.
The power and the selection of the prop and
not to knock the electrics, but YS has a natural curve to it that aids in more linear braking, not on-off switch. Braking in the down line.
As soon as you come off the throttle, you're braking.
Right.
And to be able to marry up an airframe to a prop, all that keeps you in command at all times. Of it's like I tell everybody that the throttle is the second elevator, and it's almost as important as the elevator. Yep. And you use both of them in conjunction. They're both used together to control the airplane and pitch and speed.
Throttle is the last frontier of pattern. I know a lot of guys in the lower classes might not realize that, but I think that was one of the things that you taught me early on that really pushed me to the next level and separated me from my competition was knowing how to use the throttle and how to use it to bolster your presentation.
Yeah. Well, good, man. We're gonna get hopefully some pictures of the Shinden bite, and I got plans for that airplane. Of course, it didn't quite look the same as yours.
No.
But I intended to do that years and years ago. I'm glad to see somebody's going to do it. I'm glad to also see that somebody on my team is interested in designing and building and.
I'm a co-builder.
Yeah. Co-builder.
Brett's the top flyer and got the theory down on flying. Brett is very educated in the theory of how to present. And I guess you're the builder. I'm co-builder, flyer, and AC is a very talented flyer as well. Yeah,
we have some very good masters. Team. Yeah, we have some good masters class pilots too, with Stephen Bird and Scott McCorg, and
very talented up and coming pilots. So,
all right, man.
Excited to be on the team.
It's good. Good to talk with you, and maybe next time we'll get a flight of this thing going through the F pattern.
Yeah, can't wait.